Hello there, welcome to another episode of World of Tanks with Ungainly Titan. We're on the Pershing, tier 8 game on Ruinberg, Ruinberg War, and it is encounter mode. Just makes a change. We've had a lot of games, I think, in recent times on the same rotation of maps, and I don't think it's a while since I've shown a game on Ruinberg. I decided that since I'm in a medium tank, I'm going to go outfield. I'm not going to go into the city. I'm going to head up here towards the village on the eastern side of the map and see what can be achieved. Won't go directly to the village. I'm going to go to the area here, just at this end of it. The Pershing has pretty good gun depression, so this is an area that I could make some use of if those people are crossing over along the bottom here, and I got here on time, or I gave them enough lead at the beginning. So far I've been ineffectual at these long range shots, but I've managed to get at least one hit in. T-28 prototype, difficult enough. The biggest problem with this location is that if the enemy get into the road there on my left, down towards the cap circle, then you can be subject to fire from the flank. Some of my allies are under pressure here in the village, so I thought I'd give some assistance, particularly this tank destroyer here. Don't manage to get a penetrating hit there with that shot, and we do with that one. We might have been better off if we didn't come in. Tank destroyer came in around the corner, gets blown up, and there's a T-44 pushing onto my position. So I'm going to back down, because the worst thing that can happen to you in a situation like that is where you get a couple of tanks shooting at you simultaneously. And particularly if they're in locations where your supporting tanks behind you can't see. And since this is more or less the crest of a ridge, a lot of the time you can be shot on top of this road by tanks that can't be seen by the guys behind you. However, it looks like the edge has gone swung over to our side, so I thought that I might be able to get away with coming around the back here and flanking these two guys on the road that are holding up the tank destroyer as a KV-4. We get a nice hit in. Again, I've been overusing the auto aim. Probably better off in that case if I'd actually aimed the shot. Putting the wall between myself and the T-44 to minimise his chances of penetrating on his return fire. And so far we've gotten away with it. I'm going to push on now to get onto the T-44, onto the rear of the T-44, and do some serious damage to that tank. He's managed to damage my engine, but I think I'm coming out to head in the hit point exchange. We have the slight edge on numbers. We're now we've got 8 kills, they got 6, so we're up a couple of tanks. And there's some tanks down here on the kind of road at the edge of the built-up area. So I'm coming now to join that fight. I have some support coming in with me, although it'll be a while. I will get there prior to it. There's a light tank making a run here, and I decide to intercept the light tank. But I make a bit of a mess of it because I'm not, again, giving him enough lead on my shots to actually finish him off, even though he's a one-shot kill. And then there's the M4 and a second tank with him, a Tiger. So I decide to pull around the back of the buildings, and then I remember that I can shoot through the buildings here, so I'm just wondering, do they remember it? Because sometimes people forget little factors like that, and they'll come out to shoot another tank and they won't realise that you can shoot them in the gap between the buildings, which I have done so, and damaged his ammunition rack, which makes it easier. It slows down his reload and makes him more vulnerable to further ammunition or detonation if we hit the same spot again. Now the M4 has decided to ignore my position behind him, to just go for the tank in front of him. And that proves to be a mistake. We take him out before he manages to do any further damage. However, in the while that it took me to do that, the enemy team's position has collapsed. So instead of being, we were 2 tanks up, now we're 5 tanks up, and we're now 6 tanks up. So it's pretty much all over. There's a heavy tank remaining, but we know where he is. And generally a tank where there are a lot of tanks closing in and we know where he is, his location is known, isn't the one that'll pull off a 1v7 victory, is it? Pulling off a Colbana's medal in heavy tank. I reckon any of them I've seen, you would need to have a bit of luck on your side, so that you could have the enemies that you're engaged with at any particular time and relatively handle numbers. One versus many fights are generally won by somebody who's able to break down those one versus many into 1v1s, taking each enemy one at a time. So we got over 2k damage. Didn't get a lot of assistant damage because we were kind of in the front line the whole time, and we weren't really spotting or anything like that. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching it. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like, and if you have not already done so, please consider giving the channel a subscription. Once again, thank you for watching, and I will catch you all again soon.